I hope you're having a great Sunday. Well, one of the most common questions we get, we get a lot of questions on health and disease and cancer and all of these things. But what we're seeing is a lot of questions coming in from the youth, teenagers, kids, the elderly, and even middle-aged people about how can you be happy? What does it take to be happy? Most human beings are constantly in this pursuit of happiness, trying to find out different things that make them happy, different events that make them happy. Now, I'm no expert on happiness, I'm no expert on spirituality when it comes to searching for happiness, but there are some things that I learned from my dying patients. There are some things that I learned from end-of-life patients. You see, in our line of work, me and my team are constantly talking to people who are end of life, who are basically in their stages of dying. And I like to talk about these people because they love to talk as well. They like to be listened to. They like to talk about their entire lives. And today what I've accumulated are certain points over the years, which makes so much of sense. I'm the kind of person in my own journey of searching for happiness in different places and all of that stuff. You read self-help books, you look at different things, you try different experiences. Sometimes it makes us happy that our happiness is temporary. You get into different relationships, all of these things. You find happiness in different stages and then it disappears and then you constantly keep searching for it. And one thing that we've learned is that happiness is not a permanent state. There will be sad days, there will be angry days, there will be depressed days, there will be very happy days. And we need to be ready to face all of these things because being in a complete state of happiness may be possible for those people who are enlightened. And what I want to talk about today are the points that we've collected. Now, when we talk to these dying patients, the one thing that I noticed about these patients are mainly talking about memories. They're talking about their childhood memories. They're talking about fun memories that they made during their entire lifetime. They're talking about the happy, memories that they made with their children, with their family, with their friends, with their colleagues at work and all of that stuff. Most of them talk about memories. They talk about their childhood. They talk about their hobbies and the things that they enjoy doing. They talk about the passions that they followed. A lot of them talk about the things that they wanted to do and they couldn't do in their lifetime. They talk about family. They talk about relationships. They talk about the closeness between friends. They talk about spending time with people that they truly cared for. Most people talk about kids. Most people talk about children. Why do we like spending so much of time with children? It comes very naturally because we get attracted to the innocence of children. The innocence that adults lose after a certain stage in their life. And we get more attracted to that innocence, which is actually the true the true way of being, and that's why we like children most. So they talk about all of these things. They talk about the love that they had in their life. They talk about the love that they lost in their life. They talk about all of these things. I'm yet to see someone who's dying who speaks about the weight problems they have, the weight they didn't lose, the weight they gained, the fat that they gained, the dresses or the clothes that they couldn't fit in. I'm yet to see people talk about the designations that they held in their companies, how much they achieved. They don't talk about their wealth. They don't talk about their finances. They don't talk about clothes and parties and socializing and all of the material things. Now, the point that I'm trying to make over here, these things are fine because we're not in the dying stage right now. So it's probably improper to compare ourselves to someone who's dying. But the whole essence of what I'm trying to talk about is to understand that it's fine to have parties and clothes and chase your weight loss goals and have a perfect body and all of that stuff. It's absolutely fine at the stage of life that we are in. But if we think that those are the sources of our happiness, that's where we get our learning from. They are not the source of our happiness. I'm yet to see someone who's lost weight and comes back and says, I'm completely happy and content. No, they have a new goal. Now they want to shape up, they want to tone. It never ends. It never ends because they base their entire self-worth and their happiness on something which is material, something that is vain, and something that is not true to what defines true happiness in all of us. The second thing that you learn, because I ask a lot of questions to these people, I say, so finally, where do you think you could have found your happiness? And they all said, we had to create it within us. Whatever life gave us in terms of memories, in terms of bad times and stuff like that, we were responsible to choose whether we wanted to be happy or we wanted to let the situation completely affect the way that we feel. So like most religions talk about, happiness is a state within us. which means you can have the best things in the world around you. You can have family, you can have money, you can have holidays and all of that stuff. But inside of you, if you choose not to be happy because you're constantly in a frame of negativity, blaming, you live with a sense of lack, thinking nothing is ever enough for you. When we don't count our blessings, no matter how little they are, we're not grateful for even the most little things, because we're constantly comparing ourselves with other people and thinking that we don't have enough. These are things which automatically rob us out of happiness. Again, you look at a kid. A kid can get angry, a kid can get sad, but they're resilient. It takes a little while for them to go through that emotion and completely bounce out of it, because they're not attached to what just happened. But as adults, we constantly start, attaching our self-worth and our happiness with everything around us. Today we know, when you look at the hedonic treadmill study, you should check this out. It's research done on the wealthiest people and why they're still unhappy, why they're still chasing more and more and more and more. And it talks about 5 things that you can do in order to enjoy the wealth. It's not about it's not about not making wealth. It's not about all of that stuff. It's about, if you have wealth and if you have everything in the world today, why do you still have an empty feeling in your heart? Why do you still feel you don't have enough? Why do you feel a sense of low self-worth? Why do you feel that you still need something more and more in your system? So the hedonic treadmill study talks about that all these material things may contribute towards 10% or less of your happiness, but the things that bring true contentment and happiness to an individual is, number 1, making memories, because when you make memories, you have something that you can think about all the time. So when you're depressed, when you're sad, all you need to do is think about some of those memories that give you that warm feeling of happiness in your heart, and you can immediately move from a state of sadness to a state of happiness. So 1 is making memories. 2 is your health. Maintaining your health, because you can have everything in the world, but if you do not have your health, you cannot enjoy the comfort of a soft bed. You cannot enjoy the comfort of good food. You cannot enjoy the comfort of travel and everything else, because your health has now become an obstacle. The third thing was giving back to society. I'm not talking about writing out a check. The easiest thing to do is write out a check and give it. That's a great thing to do, because your money will help people. But to get that sense of contentment is actually volunteering your time, your services, your talent, your skills to people. You cannot measure the amount of contentment you get back when you truly give something to someone who doesn't have it at all. That was the third thing. The fourth thing was basically focusing on your meditation and your spiritual path to ground you. If you don't have a grounding path, it doesn't mean you have to be religious. Spirituality grounds you to certain values. Now, all of these values doesn't mean we have to have them, and it doesn't mean we'll get them easily. But when we have a certain grounding, especially in today's world, when you're lost among so much of information, so many fads in society, so many opinions in society that constantly, confuses us. You've seen our children going under peer pressure. Even adults go under peer pressure from their own society and their own friends groups. So when you have your value system in place, which comes through religion or spirituality or whatever, just wrong and right and whatever it is, it grounds you. It helps you to make sense of your life. If you don't make that sense, you're constantly reacting and changing mask after mask after mask, just to fit in and be accepted in a virtual community and a virtual society. And that makes you more miserable, and it makes you more sad inside. So memories, giving back, focusing on your health, finding a hobby that you truly love and doing it. It doesn't mean you have to give up your work, but have a hobby no matter what it is. It's painting, it's golf, it's singing, it's music, but make sure that you are doing that in your life at some point, because these are the things that ground you and gives you true contentment. Everything else is optional in what you choose. Have your wealth, have your material things, enjoy the fruits of your labor and everything else, but don't get lost in that. Because like I said, when you're dying, the things that people talk about are not wealth, designation, weight, clothes, and all of that stuff. They talk about the very things that the study told us gives us true contentment and happiness. Memories, childhood, the time you spent with your children, the time you spent with your loved ones, the relationships that you built. Doesn't have to be husband and wife. It could be father, mother, child, sibling, friend, someone you don't know. The amount you gave back and the amount of difference you made in someone else's life. Today, the one thing that I have people coming and asking me is, Luke, how can I make a difference? I want to make a difference. How can I make a difference? Why do people want to do this? Because that's one of the things that make you feel truly content about yourself, no matter what designation you're at, no matter how much of money you have in your bank. So these are the things that we have to really start chasing. And believe me, when we start focusing on these things, your inner state of happiness increases. When the inner state of your happiness increases, your body works better for you, and your mind. You don't start holding on to stubborn fat. Everything about you gets better. Your health, your skin, your hair, your weight, your mental stress, your sleep, everything. Today we've broken down the human body and lifestyle into small bits. Everyone's trying to fix sleep, everyone's trying to fix diabetes, everyone's trying to fix leg pain, everyone's trying to fix excess fat gain, not understanding that it's all interconnected with one another. And if we have a state of inner happiness, which we can develop, we'll get it, we lose it, we'll get it, we lose it. That's life. No one is permanently happy. And finding true love. Again, love, when we talk about it, I'm no expert when it comes to love. Absolutely no expert. But I'm talking about love which you can have for your mother, for your parents, for your children, for your wife, for your lover, for your colleagues, for humanity, for people around you. That true sense of love, if you have that in your heart, the entire metabolism, the physiology, the biology, the chemistry of every cell in the body changes its vibration. And that's the change that we need today, because we've seen the world chasing everything else and we're going in circles and circles and circles. And finally, what are the two things that we're most craving for? Peace, which is why we run away to nature all the time, happiness, and love. Whatever we do is revolving around peace, happiness, and love. Peace, happiness, and love. Every action that you take is revolving around those three things. So we got to find a path that leads us directly to it by removing obstacles, what we've been taught by social media, society, opinions, and actually living your true life according to who you are. There'll be bad people, there'll be good people, there'll be people who have, issues and attitudes and all. All of us have that, myself included. All of us make mistakes, we do bad things, we need forgiveness, we need to forgive people. It's part of everyone's life. No one's perfect. If you think there's a perfect person out there, you're wrong. No one's perfect, so you don't expect anyone to be perfect as well. We need to embrace these challenges and changes, and that's exactly what holistic health is. And if we're chasing happiness, these are the things that we have to look at. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.